Welcome to Trap Live with Bill Boggs, joined today by singer, dancer, actress, director Lucie Arnaz, and several surprise, oh my God moments for Lucie, with a special appearance by Joan Rivers, because everybody's alive here on Trap Live. Trap Live is brought to you today by Spike the Wonder Dog, the new hysterical satirical novel, The Adventures of Spike the Wonder Dog, as told by Bill Boggs. A book that guarantees the kind of big laughs that we all need right now. Go to orderspike.com today and pre-order The Adventures of Spike the Wonder Dog, shipping to your own private quarantine location soon. I am your announcer, Jeff Leibowitz, former man about town, now trapped in my own home just like all of you. And now here's the best talk show host to be trapped with, Bill Boggs.
Thank you, Jeff. I hope you had a good week. I understand you're working very hard this week on a big project with your lovely wife.
I was indeed.
Well, you're looking healthy and well.
Well, we're trying. It's not so bad here in Florida. A lot of people are elsewhere, and we're glad to be here.
We've had a good week here. You know, working on the book and stuff. Jane Rothschild, Lady Jane, is by my side. But she only, you know, my questioning style. I make Larry King look like a Nuremberg prosecutor. I ask the softball questions. So Jane will come in each show with the hard question. But I have the easy part now, which is full disclosure, to introduce a dear friend of mine for more than actually 40 years, Lucie Arnaz. And Lucie Arnaz truly is Hollywood royalty. Mother and father were Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz. She's had, and is continuing to have, I don't like when people say, he's had a good career. She's having a good career. She's a singer, an actress who's been on Broadway and a couple of films, a lot of Broadway stuff, a director and a writer, and one of the most vivacious, genuine, authentic people in the big, wide, wonderful world of show business. Here's my friend, Lucie Arnaz. Hi, Lucie.
Oh, what a lovely introduction. Thank you, my friend. It has been over 40 years, full disclosure, known you a very long time, still like you too.
Oh, thank you. Well, Lucie, how was your week? How was your week?
Let's see. When did the week start? I only remember various days. I don't know where we are in the week. Is this a weekend? They tell me there's a holiday coming. Is it Christmas? I don't know. My week so far has been good. I feel like I have cooked 492 meals and cleaned every room in my house. I sort of stagger them so that I'm not doing it all in one day. And then before I know it, I'm back around to the same room I started with. And I go, shit, you know, why does this take so long? I'm giving my housekeeper a raise. That's it. When she comes back, she's going to get a lot more money.
The people, like the invisible people are now really visible. The delivery people, the housekeepers, the medical workers, the ones you see on the street coming out of an EMT truck. These people are lifeline, and they need to be thanked verbally and in any other way that you can, for sure.
I kind of wish that I was living in the city, in New York City right now, so that I could be a part of that 7 o'clock in the evening thank you that goes on. If you know about this, do you know what's happening there?
Yes. Yeah.
They make all kinds of noise, go out on their terraces or their windows and hit pots and pans and scream and yell and go, yay, hooray, ding, 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 for like 10 minutes every day at 7 o'clock. This is so nuts. So fabulous.
In Palm Springs, where you are now, living with your terrific actor, writer, director, husband, Larry Luckenbill, they're going to come and arrest you banging this stuff out there.
Yeah, no one would hear me. First of all, maybe the guys who live way across that place. I'm sort of out in the middle of nowhere, so it wouldn't have the same impact, I fear.
So we're looking behind you. That's the living room in your home, correct, Lucie?
That's my kitchen. And it's kind of the everything room. It's the great room, as they say. It's my office and our little sitting area, or the TV, and the kitchen with the cutting board, you know, where we had lunch. It's our kitchen. I'm in the kitchen, Bill.
Lunch back in January. Well, Lucie, when I asked you to do our Trap Live show, which was last week, I was unaware that Will and Grace would be on last night with what I thought was a spectacular.
It was great.
show tribute. You saw it, right, Jeff?
Absolutely. It was amazing.
Will and Grace, if you're unfamiliar with what happened, popular sitcom, did a tribute to I Love Lucy, your mother and father's show last night. How did that come to be? You were on it in the chocolate scene as the factory worker there. How did that come to be, Lucy?
They, my good friend Robert Greenblatt, who was the head of NBC for many years, and now he runs Time Warner and all the other big, things that Time Warner owns, which is pretty much the world, I suppose. And he called me up because he created the Will and Grace and certainly put them back on the air for the second go round that they've had. They were gone for like 11 years, then they came back. And he said that the producers, Matt Muchnick and, excuse me for forgetting, Dave Cohan, were such big fans of my mother's and dad's show, and they've always sort of tried to emulate the types of scripts and the types of stories that were on I Love Lucy. And Deborah's a huge fan of my mom's, and I knew that. And Bob Greenblatt said they would like to tribute the show in one of their last episodes on their final season. And they don't want to do it without your blessing, and they need permission from CBS as well. Could you make that call? How do you feel about that? And so I spoke to the producer, and he told me what they were going to do. And I thought it was such an incredibly clever idea, first of all, because it's part Fantasyland, right? I mean, they aren't just getting in stupid costumes and pretending they're Lucy and Ricky. The fact that they all switch is fun and takes the illness off of any one person having to be Lucy. I like that they used the original scripts. Those are real scripts. They said, we're gonna find episodes that we can do it with, and then we're gonna get permission to use the real scripts. But the most important thing to me, and I said yes right away. I said, yes, that sounds amazing. I know they'd be very honored, and let me try to get that to happen. And I called CBS, and we made it happen. But what was really cool when I was on this, I skipped a big part. So then he said, and they're hoping that you might come on and do a cameo of some sort somewhere along the line, one of the scenes. So I thought, well, there aren't very many classic scenes that have another person in them that isn't one of those four people. And then when Max said, what about, the chocolate factory boss? I thought, oh, hilarious. That's perfect, because it's so iconic, speed it up a little. I mean, it's the moment everybody remembers. So I said that would be really fun. I've never in my life done anything like this. I never wanted to replicate anything my mom did. I wouldn't even sing Hey Look Me Over for 10 years because it was her song,
Right.
But this was different. It was really fun. And the coolest part about it, I'm sorry I tried to make those ding dongs go away, but they aren't going away. So sorry about that.
Don't worry.
The coolest part was the technical part. Yeah. The people who recreated the sets meticulously, the costumes, the makeup and the hair, the little individual details of like the candy was actual chocolate candy on the conveyor belt, and the guys behind the scene, which they showed at the end. You saw a little bit of the actual conveyor belt from behind the scenes. The guys were sitting at the tables for hours and hours on end. They brought in 5 extra prop people to tear off the grapes from each vine, from each little stem, real purple grapes, so they could put them in the vat. And I'm thinking, who's gonna know? Just, put rubber grapes in there and with some smear stuff when they do it. No, it was gonna be absolutely verbatim what they did originally. And originally they did have real grapes. So that was the loving part to me, was that the backstage people did more of a love letter to that show even than the cast, and the cast did an amazing job.
Well,
so it was great.
There was a moment on that show that I really liked when what was the name of the actor?
Sean Hayes Eric McCormick.
Eric McCormick
Plays Will.
Early on, Will.
Yeah.
I'd never seen the sitcom before. I basically don't. Well, I watched Last Man Standing because Richard Baker manages Tim Allen, but I don't watch many sitcoms. Anyway, He said early on, I love Desi. I love Desi Arnaz because everything he did made Lucy shine. That made me feel so good.
Very true. I know that was a lovely thing to put in there, wasn't it?
It was lovely because your father is a true genius in the business. I mean, you talk about the 3-camera sitcom shoot that we take for granted, Desi Lou Productions, also a wonderful music entertainer, a handsome guy, a vibrant force. I was pleased to have known him, and interviewed him with his book,
Yeah, you did.
So that just made me feel good.
Yeah, thank you. That was very nice. That's what I like. They handled it very respectfully. It was not like making fun of these people at all. I think the only time it got a little bit like, all right, but then I understood that too, because they had to put their stamp on it. And Megan Mullally said, okay, I can do this, but I think she should, no matter who she's playing, because she played Lucy, Fred, and Ethel. She said, no matter who I'm playing, she should still have her martini glass or something, because that character is always drinking. Karen is always drinking. And so that was a little bit of a stretch, but it was like, okay, it's Will and Grace, it's their dream. They were having a dream, and in Karen's mind,
Now, but Jeff, by the way, thank you very much for announcing and engineering and directing. Your quick take on last night. Then we're going to go to the oh my God clip surprise for Lucy. How did you enjoy the show?
Can't hear you, Jeff. I can't hear you, Jeff. Can't hear you, Jeff.
Thank you.
No, I can.
Good. I put myself on mute so you guys could talk. My wife and I both thought that it was absolutely brilliant, the way that they weaved the actual original scenes into the current show. I definitely appreciated the martini glass, so I'm kind of glad that they made that one slight variation. I think it really played well to the audience that loves and has loved that show for many, many years.
Good. Yeah. All right, so look, I'm not going to say anything about what's about to happen.
Okay.
You know which clip it is, Jeff, right? It's the first one. It's the first one. It's not the one with the music in it. It's the first one. This should be an oh my God moment from Lucy. So roll that clip.
Uh-oh. I'm scared now.
All right, hang on. Here we go. We got to click a few buttons.
Oh, I see your whole computer.
Most of you know, I think I've had some of my most fun moments on television working with my good friend Lucie Arnaz, currently at Jones Beach, starring in Annie Get Your Gun. How are you, Lucy?
Hang on.
I know what it is, though. My God, I'm scared.
I told you it was an oh my God moment.
It is, especially when I can't see it.
Let's do it again.
All right, let's try this one more time.
I like take twos.
Take two.
Well, at least I'll explain what it is while Jeff is getting it set up. So this
I bet I can explain what it is.
You explain what it is.
Here, okay, now there's your little logo. By the time this pandemic is over, we're going to have this down pat.
You know,
I'm fine, Bill.
It's good to see you.
Yeah, I don't see you too
And
often.
Desi, beautiful Desi, is here.
Thank you, Bill. Beautiful Bill. We love you.
You know, I thought, rather than sit here and go through the usual stuff of growing up in Hollywood and the things that people ask you a lot, I thought we'd devote most of today's show to talking about the realities of growing up brother and sister. I had a sister. She and I had a lot of conflict in our early years. And
Where
even
is she today?
She's in Cherry Hill, New Jersey.
Oh, good.
She can't see my show because they don't get it in Cherry Hill, New Jersey.
I thought you were going to say she was blind.
I've been hearing that for a long time.
So look, basically, how would the two of you characterize your relationship as brother and sister growing up?
How would we characterize it?
Yes.
Characterize it.
Well, let's see. There was Mom.
There was Mom, yeah, and then there was Dad.
Right. Yeah.
And
Uncle Ned was a character.
Uncle Ned was a hell of a character.
He was a hell of a character, yeah.
Great character that we grew up with. You know, Uncle Ned said something to me. He always used to say to me, I don't know, Lucy may remember this. This is my favorite line that Uncle Ned used to say. He said, you know, I belong to the round church. And we go, what is that? What's a round church, Uncle Ned? He said, that's the church the devil can't get you cornered in.
Who was Uncle Ned? What was his last name?
I don't know. He was a cousin of my grandmother. A cousin of my grandmother became my Uncle Ned. Now, does that make sense to you? We never did know his last name.
Never knew his last name.
Just
used to put ketchup on everything.
And lost his finger as a lumberjack. He'd say, look, my finger's gone. And I go, oh, my God, Uncle Ned.
He could shovel his teeth back and forth, too, remember?
This unbelievable
bridge
guy.
On top and on bottom.
Unbelievable guy.
These are probably little-known facts that most people don't get to find out about.
This was a character.
There we are. Lucy, I had to roll that. You know, what a handsome man your brother is. God,
yeah.
Just gorgeous, gorgeous fellow. So here's a serious question coming out of that. Your career is a long and fertile career, and you've also been fertile, raised a big family. You've can't hear me?
It's gone very low. Can I hear him a little more, Jeff? Can I hear Bill anymore? It's got very low all of a sudden.
It's happening on his end. I'm not sure what changed, Bill.
All right.
Well, I'll just project more. There's never a problem.
There you go. There you go.
Okay. Yeah, it's better.
So here's what I wanted to ask. You've raised a big family. You've had a solid career and continue working and working. At the same time, you really are in charge in a way of the legacy of your parents. I mean, who were absolute pioneers in show business. How are you able to balance those two things in your life in terms of the many demands on you? The museum in Jamestown, the Lucille Ball Museum and so forth. Yeah. But how are you able to manage your own life, your children, and also the legacy of your parents at the same time?
That's an excellent question. And I've never really been asked it quite that way before. So I'm going to answer it seriously. You know, it's been 32 years since my father died, 30 years since my mother passed away. In those 30 years, it's gone from a runaway chariot. How the hell do I deal with all this nonsense? And I don't have time, you know, and who cares? And please get those bobblehead dolls off my desk. And why are these people pirating the images and putting them on sheets? And to finally saying, all right. It's never going to go away, right? Like years, decades. And the CBS still does another set of colorized shows. And there's this and there's the museum. One thing led to another, and you can't kill them, you know? God bless these people. They're always going to be in our lives. And that's a wonderful thing. Last night was testament to that, right? Yeah. But I realized that I can't let it run me. So I finally started making it an actual business that I didn't really think I would ever have to do, but I did. Desilu 2 is what it's called, DESILU, small TOO. And Desi and I run a business called Desilu 2, which manages the estates of our parents, like a business. And we try to only let things be merchandise that are good for the planet and happy, and the brand is about love and you know, unconditional love and laughter and family and friendship and stuff like that. And so we try to focus on that. Once in a while, when there's a big anniversary, we'll do a special or promote something along that line. But you know, I had to take it seriously, and just recently brought my daughter and my kids sort of into the fold to ask them what they thought of all of this. And they kind of slapped some sense into me too, because they said, well, first of all, there's no presence on Instagram, and you don't have, I went online and I couldn't find, it was all very scattered and there's no real blah, blah, blah. And I thought, oh shit, yeah, okay. So we have focused this a lot in the last few years. And I look at it like it's a piece of property.
Yeah, it is.
Like my mom and my dad left me this amazing piece of property. It's, you know, like a great piece of land somewhere. And you want to make sure that they don't build, you know, sort of slum housing on it, right?
Right.
And make sure it's plowed and nice trees are planted and it's going to be there for people to enjoy. It's almost like a national park. It's like a national park, their presence on the planet. And it can be used for good. Those people, just like it was last night. Here we are in the middle of a pandemic, yeah? And it just so happens that Will and Grace decide they want to do a tribute to I Love Lucy. We did this back in November. Yeah. They talked about it starting at the summer. And look where it ends up, right in the middle of this craziness to bring everybody up a little bit. The last time we did something special about my folks was in 2001, because it just happened to be the 50th anniversary of I Love Lucy. But guess what it also was? 9/11. And the whole country was devastated, right? And there was this anniversary that came up like 6 weeks after that happened. And it was just the perfect salve for us all to laugh a little bit and to feel better about ourselves. So it's interesting how it works. And I don't take it for granted ever.
No, I can understand. I appreciate the long answer too. We have another clip. If you can get that second clip ready. Jeff.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I want to show you something here. Jane bought a robe. Are you familiar with this robe? Hold it up, Jane. It's a robe.
It's like, oh.
Dress like Coco, live like Jackie, act like Audrey, laugh like Lucy. Have you seen that one?
I have not seen the robe, and we don't own it because you can't copyright a word like Lucy.
Like Lucy, yeah.
So somebody has put that out, but it's very flattering. You know, I know what they mean, and it's very flattering. They put it on T-shirts and they put it on posters, and it's really great.
We ready to roll, Jeff?
We're ready to roll.
What happens here? And then we'll talk about it.
It's simply great, mate, waiting on the levee, waiting for the Robert E. Lee.
That's so cool. Good for you.
A couple of questions. Were you really playing the banjo?
No.
No, I don't think so. Where is that from? Is that from?
That's from the Here's Lucy show when Wayne was a guest star. And the whole episode came about because I had an enormous crush on Wayne Newton. I had all of his albums. I used to sing along with "On the Shame, Darling, on the Shame." I mean, I had this whole routine. Thank you. I had a whole routine that I did. I used to see him in Las Vegas, and you know, where he would turn around and he would shake his rear end when he would sing and everything. I thought he was one of the most spectacular showmen ever on the planet. He was. He really was Mr. Entertainment. He was Mr. Las Vegas for years and years. And he became a dear friend, a really, really close friend. And so they decided to write this episode so they could feature doing my imitation of Wayne in the show. And then this was the finale number when we all got to work with him at the end. And then we did another show where we did a dressage number. I had to learn how to ride dressage with horses, dancing dressage horses, just to do this number on horseback with Wayne Newton. I mean, he was quite an inspiration to me growing up, believe it or not. And I had to endure a lot of, poking at, because I was in high school and Wayne Newton, who the hell was Wayne Newton? You know, you liked the Rolling Stones and the Beatles and, you know, all the really cool cats. You did not like Wayne Newton. They called him Fig Newton, and because he had sort of a high voice, and I didn't care. He sang the kind of music that I'm still singing to this day, right? And if you've seen my show, when I do I Love a Piano number and I play the trumpet and all that stuff, that's because that's my tribute to Wayne Newton. Because when he used to do his show, he would play like 6 or 8 different instruments in the show, and it used to blow my mind. Then he told me later, he said, you know, I only play like 4 bars on each instrument. And I went, no,
that's all he plays.
I didn't think about that. And it's always that same damn song. Oh, when the saints go marching in.
Still going like a locomotive. I'll tell you, this is what we're going to do. We have another clip of one of your favorite comedians coming up, which is Joan Rivers, and the hard question from Jane. But first, we must go to a word from our sponsor, the only show in the history of television brought to you by the host book. So
that's good.
Yes, it is. Brought to you by the Adventures of Spike the Wonder Dog. Go ahead, Jeff.
Here we go.
Winston Groom, author of Forrest Gump, says that Bill Boggs and his friend Spike the Wonder Dog unleash comedic wizardry in this madcap, highly entertaining satiric novel. Spike is the newest canine literary hero to take on the world with hilarious results.
That's it.
That's it. Yay!
Here's the important part. Orderspike.com.
Okay, Lucy, I worked 3 years on this book. I'm reduced to doing this because I don't have.
It's a very small book.
Yeah, well, but it's got a lot of laughs. I just want to say one word about it and then get back to my guest, you, and that is the same coincidental forces that brought that show last night into people's lives, laughter being the best medicine, has combined with this book is totally designed to make you laugh. Everyone who's read it has said, laugh out loud funny.
Great.
And it's the best work I've ever done in my life.
Yay for you. Yay, Bill.
And there's memoir in there. It's the dog narrating the story, and the dog's master is a talk show host. He starts in High Point, North Carolina, and goes to New York just like me. Anyway, that's our sponsor. Why? I thought if I'm doing a show,
I love that.
Brought to you by. So, Jane has a hard question here. Are we ready, Jane?
I guess so.
As I said at the top,
don't get nervous.
I throw the softballs out here, but here is every show will have Jane asks the hard one. So go ahead.
Okay.
You're right.
Hi,
Lucy, darling, the hard question is about retail. Not so hard. The stores, shops are closed. I mean, right now, only the essential stores are open. You have the supermarket. Here in Florida, they're calling gun stores essential, which is kind of scary. It's unbelievable. But anyway.
The hard question.
The hard question.
Here it is.
If you could tomorrow have one shop in Palm Springs open and available to you to go in.
One store, one place, one store.
What store would you want opened up? Where would you go tomorrow if you could?
To get my hair colored.
That's what we thought.
You and I have something in common.
I said
such smoke and mirrors going on here right now. Can I just tell you? Pink smoke and mirrors.
I honestly, I was going to say, I want a spa day. I want hair. I want manicure, pedicure, massage, facial, cut, blow dry, color, the whole highlights, the whole day.
I don't miss much. I miss some of the great restaurants that are in.
Me too.
Yeah. I would say that. Love, this is the best time of year here.
I miss it's not like a pub, it's like a feeling of being outside. I was trimming my hair I almost cut off part of my ear. I thought, I'm not, and I had to quickly, just one thing, tell you my mask story. We didn't have masks. And everybody said, you got to get a mask. So about 3 weeks ago, I made an appointment. I've never been to this dentist before. I thought, I'll get my teeth cleaned and they'll give me a mask. So I went and endured all this, $120 when it's over. I said, by the way, calmly, can I have one of those masks like you're wearing? This is like almost a month ago. So they open a drawer and the drawer is like 1,000 masks. He reaches in, gives this. I said, could I have two? No. It's been $120 to get
You've been using the same mask all this time? They're supposed to be disposable, you know.
This is it. We subsequently got a couple more masks. We don't have a lot of masks. Anyway, the reason we decided to do the show, Laughter is the Best Medicine, is to have show folk on, funny people on. And each show, I like the idea of asking the guests, who was one comedian who's really made you laugh in your life? And you picked Joan Rivers. Tell us about your relationship with Joan and Lucie Arnaz, and then we'll show a quick clip of Joan in action.
You know, it's a horrible question, a great question, horrible question to answer, because in the life I grew up in, there were so many funny people around. I mean, at our house, some of the funniest people in the world, but Buddy Hackett and, you know, Red Buttons and Milton Berle and Jack Benny lived next door, and Bob Hope and Carol Burnett, and these people were just like friends. So I can't even begin to tell you who the funniest person was, but yes, Joan comes to mind. I love Joan. I love Joan's humor. It was way ahead of her time, right? I mean, when I was going and seeing her in Los Angeles at the Ye Little Club, she was doing material about going to the gynecologist, and it was like, can't believe she's saying that. And you got to a point where you could talk about anything on the planet, and Joan couldn't find anything that was like anymore. She was saying, I can't, what am I gonna say? I've said everything, you know? So, but I adore her. She was one of the kindest, most loving people. We would be at her house right now, probably for Passover, or a beautiful Seder dinner. She loved bringing, you know, tons of her friends over to her house. And Edgar, her husband, her daughter Melissa, I adored her, and I missed her terribly.
When I interviewed Joan for the last show I did on television, My Generation, for the AARP, and she said right away, yeah, I'd love you to do it, because I'd interviewed her on the Food Network and Midday and so forth. I said, well, where would you like me to interview you? It could be any place in New York City. God's love we deliver. So she actually went down there. I interviewed her, and part of the interview, which you can see on BillBoggsTV, the interview from My Generation, was Joan actually with the hairnet on and packing food. A very good person. And she, as a comedian, as somebody who's loved comedy since I was a child, her style evolved so much. From the housewife, the suburban housewife, Edgar. This clip is when Joan really started making fun of herself, big time, physically, and dealing with aging. So let's take a look at the clip, okay, Jeff?
Right.
You got it.
And men don't like that, because men don't like anything if you're over 35. That's why every woman in this room, look good, look good, look good. I spit on education. Did you go to college? Tell us how it helped you now. No man will ever put his hand up your dress looking for a library card. I'm telling you. No way. It's looks. Look, that's why every woman in this, well, you're married, aren't you? Yeah, and you're all married. You're single. Yes, and you know how I knew? And how I knew you were married? The way you sit. Yeah, single girls sit there, married women, relaxed, easy, single girls, boobies up, smiles, so look at you. They talk with their tongue out. Waiter, I'd like a cup of coffee. The minute you're married, the tongue goes back in, you will never see it again. The only thing that happens is when you get married, you start to get older and the body drops. Bodies drop. That's another thing. But look at this. If I were not wearing a bra, without a bra, I get up in the morning. This is how I walk to the bathroom. It's just... My boobs have dropped. So I use the left one now as a stopper in the tub. It just...
Rivers, there she is. Wow, you got to love her.
What's so amazing? Look how gorgeous she looked.
Wait, go ahead.
She's absolutely gorgeous in that clip, trying to make us feel like she's some sort of an old schlepper married woman. She's got 6-inch heels on. Did you notice those, you know, pumps? Yeah. And hair to die for, perfect, skin perfect. God, I loved her.
Yeah, I like her. So we're going to wrap things up, but I'd like you, Lucy, if you can. We were all going to Jeff, his wife Leslie, Jane and I were all headed down to Delray to see your show with Ron Abel at the piano in Delray. Obviously, that didn't happen. But right. You have a one-woman show. You've had other cabaret shows. I love your singing because you attach acting to singing. You inhabit songs. You don't just sing a song. You feel what you're feeling there. Tell us a little bit about that, if you will, about your show.
About the show, well, yeah, what a shame that we lost all those dates, but everybody did. I don't know anybody who's working in Broadway or cabaret or anywhere, small theaters, big theaters, but I'll be back. We'll reschedule those. And this show that I was going to do down there is called I Got the Job, Songs from My Musical Past. And it's basically the first time that I've actually done a mini retrospective of my life in the musical theater. When I do cabaret shows, I go out and pick great American songbook songs and sing songs, great songs. But this one really had a focus on how I got into the musical theater, which is responsible for me being on the stage.
A couple of the shows in which you've been. First one.
I mean, I started way back to even my first high school shows, you know, in Oklahoma, and the songs I didn't sing in Oklahoma because I didn't think I had the soprano voice. And then I did Seesaw, the national tour of, you know, Michael Bennett and Tommy Tune and Seesaw, and Once Upon a Mattress, and Mac and Mabel, they're playing our song, My One and Only, which is the V-Squick.
The people you work with, just look at, they're playing.
Amazing.
Yeah. Neil Simon, beloved Neil Summit, Marvin Hamlish,
right?
Robert Klein. I mean, bingo, 3 home run hitters, and you out there. That was a show. A wonderful.
And for it to be my Broadway debut, that's how you get to start. You're a little bit spoiled after that, you know? A little bit like dating you, Bill. I was just spoiled for so many years. How do you go on from there?
You were punching below your weight when you were dating me. I'd say that.
I wasn't a punch.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Very sweet. No, I was so fortunate to work with those people. I mean, and I got a chance to do shows written by Irving Berlin, like Annie Get Your Gun. Remember that wonderful, and you gave me that fabulous opening night party on the yacht and the whole thing out at Jones Beach. God, I'll never forget.
Opening night of you and Annie Get Your Gun at the Jones Beach Dinner Theater. And we had, through a party for you, your mother was there, and many people. Andy Warhol was a big, Andy Warhol actually wrote about it in his diary. And after your show, we had arranged to get all of the special guests. There was about 20 of them. We went out on a bus and got on the Honey Fitz, which had been JFK's yacht, which was available. And we sailed from Jones Beach back into Manhattan. And that was your opening night party. I've never shied away from throwing parties. I'm not bragging. I'm a producer and I like to make people happy. That was a big night.
It was the most amazing thing ever. And it was almost a little bit too fabulous because, you know, the next day you still had to go back and do a show. And the party was so much fun. I had to come in from New York, but I said, I don't care. It was heaven. And so the show that I do now is me on stage by myself with one fabulous musical director, piano player, Ron Abel. Sometimes it's not Ron Abel. He broke his hand. And just as we were getting started to do this mini tour that got canceled because of COVID, Ron broke his hand. And I, at the last minute, had to go and show the whole show to another musical director. But I wound up with Michael Orland, who was just amazing. And so Michael did 2 dates with me here in Palm Desert before we were going to launch the tour, which never launched. But it would have been Ron when we came down to the crest.
Anything else to add here? Jeff, any questions? Any final thing you'd like to ask Lucy?
As everybody, I've been a fan of hers, especially on the cabaret side. Love to see those shows of yours.
Yeah, we've seen some shows together with Lucy. Yeah,
we have at Birdland and other places. You know, it's just wonderful that you and your brother are carrying on the legacy in terms of promoting all the humor and joy that your parents brought to the world. They were both wonderful, brilliant people, at least from my perspective as an audience member. And from what I know of them, they in fact were.
Yeah.
Well, that's very kind. I mean, that when Desi and I get together and talk, if we were doing that talk show today, Bill, and you asked us those questions.
I would love to see your brother again.
Yeah, we've had some time to really, you know, let this gel and come up with what's it all about anyway. Like 70 years almost of that show. Why is it still popular? Why do people still love it? And I think there's a real value in, like I said before, unconditional love. It was about unconditional love, right? It's about friendship. It's about laughter. It makes us laugh, which is very healthy. I mean, me laughing at Joan Rivers just now, that I'll never get COVID because I laughed so hard. But I really think it was the fact that we watched a character get into tons of trouble every week, and somebody at the end of it forgave her, gave her a hug and said, I love you. And that's something we all crave and we all want that. So any show that can give you that is going to last. It's because it's not about current events. There are no jokes that make fun of people. It's just about friendship and getting into trouble and getting out of it and love.
Well, you know, I'm going to close on this thought. First, thank you for taking the time. Our love and regards to Larry Luckenbill, your husband. What I'd like to say in closing is there is a river of woe running through the country. There are people who are alone, not happy and vivacious, like we see Lucy there and Jeff and I. They're sad, they're upset, and they're getting worse. This is a time to reach out to people, meaning people you've worked with over the years, somebody you may be thinking of, wondering how they're doing. This is not the time to hold back on expanding your effort to talk to people. If there's ever been an opportunity in our society society for us to use the internet, phones, FaceTime. This is it.
Very
So
true.
reach out to people. And Lucy, thank you for being with us.
I'll reach out.
Oh,
love that.
Bill,
Thank you,
hey,
Bill.
I'd like to add one final note, if I may. And I wasn't going to tell the story, but I will. One of my fond memories that you'll understand in a second, my son was 4 years old, and he came running into my office saying, "Daddy, I'm watching this really funny show, but the TV is broken. Come quick." He wanted me to fix the TV so he could watch his show. And I walked in, and he was watching I Love Lucy in black and white. He had never seen a black and white.
Thought it was broken. Yeah.
He thought it was broken.
Yeah.
But he was enjoying it at 4 years old.
good.
That's
Jeff
great.
Leibowitz, thank you. Lucy, thank you. Bernard Weinstock, if you're watching up there in Woodstock, thank you for our theme song. Next week, we continue in the tradition of Joan Rivers with Lisa Lampanelli, the comedian, next week. Aha.
Lovely.
Bye, folks. Thank you.
Bye, Bill. Bye, Jane. Bye, Jeff. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, Lucy. Love you.
Thank you for watching Trapped Live with Bill Boggs, brought to you by the Adventures of Spike the Wonder Dog. You can follow Spike at these locations. We'll see you next week.